Hey guys, Emily here. I'm CEO of Hirsh Marketing, a multi-seven-figure marketing company, and this is where I share super real, super transparent strategies, tips, and stories around being a CEO, a mom, and life in general. In today's video, I'm going to dive all into who to hire first in your business. This is a question I get asked all the time, and most people wait way too long to make their first hire, or they make a complete mistake with who they hire. So let's talk about that today. I was able to take my company to about $20,000 a month completely on my own. And then I hit a wall. I had my second child. I realized I'm not going to keep growing if I don't make a decision to build a team. And it's going to happen at different places. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be at $20,000 a month before you make your first hire. Don't take that into your business. You have to decide, is not hiring somebody costing me growth? And for me, that was about where I hit. I couldn't take on a single more client. I was completely overwhelmed. I was doing everything from the delivery to billing our clients to the sales calls, the marketing, all of it. And there was no way I could continue growing unless I made the decision to hire. But for a lot of us, this is the true territory into the unknown. It's difficult, but not that difficult to grow your business when it's just you, because you're in full control. You can control every single thing thing about the delivery. You are in that control. But now you have to bring people in, you have to trust, you have to train, you have to find. All of those things are, for a lot of us, very much into the unknown. So that decision of who to first hire, I think a lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake because they look at what other people are saying to do or what's the easiest. And so for a lot of you guys, it's an assistant. That's a lot of entrepreneurs' first hire is a virtual assistant or an executive assistant or somebody to do admin work. And I'm not saying that's the wrong choice. That might be the right choice for your business, but I think you can be a little bit more strategic with it than just saying, I'm going to hire an assistant. That's the easiest thing to do. So when choosing that first position to hire, what you need to take into consideration is, what are you doing that's costing you the most time, number one, and number two is something you're not even great at doing, that you shouldn't be doing. So taking a step back before you hire and actually analyzing that, maybe even writing down for a full week what you do and how you spend your time. I know it sounds terrible, but it's really helpful. Writing down how you spend your time and kind of analyzing, if I could chunk together one thing into that will become a job description, what are those things? What are those things I'm doing and also that I'm not good at doing? Because what happens is that's going to take you a lot longer. So let's use my company as an example. I was running Facebook ads for clients. I was doing all of course, the back end work in my business, but I was also doing the ad copy, the ad creative. I was loading the ads. I was doing all the delivery. Now, I'm not a copywriter. I can write copy, but it takes me probably 4 times what it would take a really good copywriter, and it's probably not as good as what a really good copywriter would do. So one of the first positions that I hired was a copywriter, because that was able to take a large chunk of my time. So for example, if one client ad copy took me an hour to write, but it took a copywriter 20 minutes, now we're able to get done 3 times the amount that we were getting done with their time versus my time, and I'm able to save hours a week, plus produce a better result for my clients. Now, I was good at the admin piece of my business. That wasn't necessarily a good use of my time, but I was really fast at it. I didn't have a lot of it. I was really good at it. And the copy was taking me a really long time. So that's the first position I actually hired for, was a copywriter. The next thing I hired for was sales help, because I was so drained from doing sales calls. I would have days where I had 8 hours back to back to back of calls between client calls and sales calls, and I was exhausted from it. And I'm also not a salesperson. I'm not the best salesperson. I'm naturally okay at it. But that was my second hire. So 2 things to take away from this. Number one, when you look at my business, you would not follow exactly what I did, right? You would not say, okay, I need to go hire a copywriter, because that might not be the right decision for your business. Second, you need to analyze, where are you spending? Where's the biggest time and energy suck for you? For me, like, the second I got copy and sales off my plate, it felt like 1,000 pounds were lifted off my shoulders, because it was things I hated doing. I didn't want to keep doing those things. And so a lot of people out there teach hiring, and they say, everybody needs to hire this position for their business. You need an assistant. That will save you so much time. And again, I'm not saying that's not true. That might be true for your business, but I believe in choosing the solution that is custom to your business and not cookie cutter and saying everybody needs an assistant. That's what they should do. But instead saying what's going to take the biggest load off of your plate as a CEO, and what are you doing that you're not actually good at doing? A lot of business owners also think that they can find this one unicorn for their business, and as soon as they find that support, it'll fix all their problems. And that's a huge mistake I've made, people make, so many business owners make, because that sounds so easy, right? If only that were true, that if I just found the perfect assistant or the perfect marketing manager, they would get me the best marketing results, or they would save me X amount of hours a week. That's not reality. So first of all, when you're going to hire somebody, you have to go into it knowing you're not going to find that unicorn, that it doesn't exist. You can find amazing people, but the only way you're going to find amazing people is if you have great recruiting and training and hiring processes on the back end. And most likely, if this is your first hire, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you don't have the process on the back end, and that's okay. Don't let that stop you from making your first hire, but know that you never should go hire a position to solve a problem in your business. You should hire a position to help you, to support your business. That individual person is not going to solve a problem. And I've had this conversation so many times with friends and other entrepreneurs where we get it in our mind that if we could just hire this person or just find this, even if it's an agency or a company, that's going to solve this problem in my business. You as the leader have to solve the problem. You have to have the foundation, or at least be willing to build the foundation for the people you're going to bring in. So also, when you're considering your first hire, don't let that skew you that you're trying to solve a problem that you just don't want to solve and it seems like too much work or too hard. And so if only you can find that position, then that will solve that problem, because that's not reality. And in 3 months from now, you're going to be disappointed that didn't happen. So remember that when you're also considering who to hire, because at the end of the day, you should be choosing to hire the position that's going to save you the most time and put you in your zone of genius as a business. Because especially when you're first starting out and you're considering that first hire, you're the jack of all trades. You're doing everything in your company, and you had to do that in the beginning, and there's nothing wrong with doing that in the beginning. But at some point, that's going to break, and that's going to actually prevent your growth. So when you go to make that first hire and you're clear on what they should be doing and you're clear on the qualifications they should have, I want you to not be afraid to go find experts. For some reason, when I first started building my team, I thought I had to train people how to do everything, how to do Facebook ads, how to write copy, how to be a marketing expert. And the reality actually is you can go find people who are better than you at doing what you need to get done. And you should be clear on that qualification, like what should they be really good at in order to be a right fit for this role. So a big mistake that business owners make is they're not clear on that. They go really hurry and find someone because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm drowning. I need help right now, tomorrow. Anybody, just come on. And I'm saying this because I did this. Hurry, come on and help me. And then you end up wasting a lot of time and resources on the wrong people, and it's not a good fit for them. It's not a good fit for you. And that really stems from you not being clear on who you were supposed to hire first, what they were supposed to do, what their qualifications should be. And that's ultimately going to cause a lot of frustration in your business. So getting clear on that and then going to find that first hire is key. Another really common question I'll get from people around hiring is, how do I know I can afford it? How do I know I can pay for that salary? And the reality is, as the CEO, as the business owner, you need to know your numbers. How much money do you bring in every month? Is it stable, or is it go back to zero at the beginning of every month? And once you know that, you know what you can afford to pay for that salary. And then, going forward, you're going to have to weigh, what is the growth potential if I bring this position in? And a lot of times people wait too long to bring in the help because they're trying to save the cost, but that's costing them more. So I want you to imagine, okay, we have my first hire. It's going to be this position. Here's what they're going to do. Here's what their qualifications are. Now, if I hire this person, it's going to save me this much time a week that I'm going to spend doing something else, and that is going to generate more revenue for my company. I don't want you to be afraid to make your first hire because of having that burden, that expense. I think in most cases, people wait too long to make that first hire because they are afraid of that burden. So as long as you look at your past, let's say 3 to 6 month business numbers, and you're consistently in, a certain area where the expense of their salary would make sense, you're fine. And it is, of course, a risk. It's, of course, a liability. That is part of being a business owner. But if you wait too long, it will actually impact your growth. So knowing your numbers, knowing how consistent your numbers are is enough for you to say, okay, I can bring on support. I'm able to afford that support, and I'm going to use that time where I get this support to do this, which is going to help my business grow, which really justifies that cost even more. The other thing, once you do make that first hire, that I found time and time again, is once you have somebody that you bring onto your team, it absolutely forces you to get your processes, to get your SOPs, to get your clear expectations in place. Because if you don't, you actually will be wasting money on having that person. And so you're kind of forced to get organized, to get clear, to explain that clarity to somebody else, which takes, you getting out of your head and you getting clear. Now, 100%, the first time you hire somebody, you will not have your processes organized. Even today, if we hire for a new position, we do our best, but it's figuring it out as we go. It's setting that foundation. And so you're going to bring somebody in who's going to set that foundation in your business, and that's okay. But having a team forces you to look at your vision better, to look at where you're going as a company, because you're now having to explain that to somebody else and get that clear and make sure everybody's on the same page. And what that does is sets you up for success for the next hire and the one after that. And so bringing somebody onto your team in that way, it's kind of like a byproduct that happens and will support your growth that I didn't even realize. But once I started bringing people onto my team, it forced me to make things extremely clear, expectations, SOPs, processes, so that our delivery and everything in the back end of our company was consistent. Choosing and making your decision on your first hire is a big deal. It will be, no matter what, no matter where you are right now, a pivotal moment in your business. Maybe also you're listening to this and you've tried to hire people in the past and it hasn't worked out, and this gives you the clarity to go make the actual first hire. Been there and understand that too. It's a big deal. It's a big pivotal moment in your business, and just understand you're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from those, and it will contribute to your growth. If you guys love content like this and you want to hear more about my team and behind the scenes, I also have a podcast that comes out twice a week called the Not for Lazy Marketers podcast. We'll link to it in the show notes. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.